Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm David King.
And I'm Cilbrith.
Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to talk about accessibility. Now, I'm going to kick it right off, like kicking a field goal at a football game. It's good! Well, I don't know how good it really is, because when you talk about accessibility, you're talking about being able to have complete independence. And yet, even though that law was passed some mark years ago, which I don't know the date on it, I'm not a big genius when it comes to all that kind of stuff, but there's still a lot of places today that elderly and disabled right here in the state of Connecticut cannot get into, even though everything's supposed to be accessible to everybody. You know, there's stores and restaurants that you can't get into. I'm not gonna mention any names. But there's a lot of places, and I know you've seen it, that you just can't get into. And I'm like, Fred, it makes me mad.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, you're able to walk up the steps. I'm trying to roll in my power chair, and I know a lot of viewers out there who also may be in a power wheelchair or a senior citizen who have a hard time walking, can't get in. I mean, what is your take with that?
I mean, I think they should have accommodations.
Supposed to have the accommodations.
At least a little bit.
A little bit should be all the way.
Yeah, it should be.
I mean, okay, how is it, for example, you go into a grocery store, they supposed to be there to help the customers. Now, you all been in Stop and Shop and local grocery stores. You got stuff on the top shelf, but you got somebody that's elderly who can't even stand, but they need a bag of chips on the top shelf. And then you got employees that don't want to help nobody. But then on top of that, well, if you don't want to help nobody, put it lower.
Yeah.
Why,
put it where they can reach it.
Exactly. Or like I know when I go online to make money orders, I always get overlooked at the counter because I'm down here and the counter's up here.
It's like, hello, I'm down here. I need to make a money order.
But that's what I'm saying. This shouldn't be a problem. I should be able to go into a store and not have to worry about that.
Right.
Because I want to be seen right level as everybody else. When you go into a store and you stand there, they can see you perfectly fine.
Right.
I want the same thing. Because it does make us feel like either embarrassed or like, why am I wasting my time? Kind of perspective.
Right.
When you're sitting there, I know those are you got your own challenges. Those are my challenges. Tell them a little bit about your challenges. I know a little bit about your challenges, but you tell them about it.
I had a job interview recently, and I'm not going to say the company or anything, but I called them back 2 weeks later, and the manager says to me, we're in the process of hiring people right now, so if I don't call you, if I don't call you back, I'm sorry. I was like, really?
So you think that has something to do with you having, the way that you walk?
No, I think it was more like I didn't come off the way they wanted, which I came dressed in a suit, Dave. I literally came dressed in a suit and tie for this interview, and I'm like, I wasted all that time, because for people like us, and I know the viewers at home, and you've done it, you come in a suit, you feel good about yourself, but it takes time for you to put the suit on, and you go and you make yourself look nice, and you go to the interview, and you get interviewed, and they tell you, oh, we can't hire you. It's like, really?
That's unfortunate, but when you're talking about accessibility,
but it's part of the interview too. Like, they have people they can't hire and they're going to hire, so I understand that. But
well, no. When you talk about accessibilities and accommodations, there is no such thing that a job can't accommodate anybody with a disability to work at a job. Let's be real. You're not gonna climb the skyscraper.
No.
But that don't mean you can't be the guy in the office or whatever. We have every right to do all different kind of jobs as well as anybody else. You got to be able to do the job too. You can't just come in and not know how to do the job.
Right.
But they can't tell you, or they can't not look at you oh, because you have a disability, you can't work here. That is discrimination.
I don't think it was discrimination. I just think he was calling people and he just was saying nicely that, okay, we're not going to hire you.
But did you see it as not going to hire you because you're a disability, or just...
I saw it as like, that's just the way it is, because a lot of the workforce, that's how the workforce is, unfortunately. Sometimes you don't get hired, but there are other times where you go and you have an interview and you get hired, which is great.
True, but I know a lot of us that are disabled, we always feel like that, like, oh, we're not going to get the job because of our disability.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how many times before I had got my job, how I rolled into a job interview or even just to fill out an application, like, why am I wasting my time? You know,
it's like, why am I coming here?
You know, for real, it's like, because you feel like you're not going to get hired. And then, like, say if you get hired, I know I got hired at my job.
Right.
I wasn't respected by my coworkers. I was the poster kid. I was the cheerleader kid. You know, because, well, they hired you because you got a disability. It makes the company look good. But they didn't feel I can do the job. I mean, that's changed now because I done made it clear I can do the job. But a lot of people that are disabled, they're scared to go get a job because they don't feel like they can succeed because they don't have the confidence for that. And some companies are scared to hire people with disability because it could be a liability. Oh my goodness. They love to be scared of a liability. And that's got to stop because, quite frankly, I want to work too. What if I don't want to work here and I want to work at Subway? What if I don't want to work at Subway but I want to work at Dunkin' Donuts? But you're scared just because I might fall that you don't want to hire me? Hey, it's 2014, going to be 2015.
Yeah.
You know, I want options to work. I'm tired of being the disabled kid who only limited to working at just Goodwill. Now, I'm not saying Goodwill's not a good company to work for. I'm not saying that Home Depot's not a good place to work for. But I'm saying I want options just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be limited to what I can do for work or where I can work, you know, or even living. You know, housing is great, you know, but I feel, what if I don't want to live in housing for the rest of my life? What if I want to have my own house?
Speaking of houses, Dave, a couple days ago, actually, on Sunday night, I was watching a TV program and I heard about this lady that got evicted because she couldn't pay her bills on time.
Wow.
You know, I heard it was in Wilcott, and her name was, I'm not going to say her name.
I mean, it's fine.
Her name was Sandra Wheeler out of Wilcott, Connecticut.
Heard that. It's the girl with the cerebral palsy.
Yeah. And it's here just like yours.
Right. And they were going to evict her because she couldn't pay the mortgage or the rent on the house.
Right. And
because she had got badly sick, and they were going to just throw her out on the street.
Right.
Well, I find that to be messed up. They didn't even, you know, at first they didn't even consider the fact that, you know, hello, it costs.
Yeah.
Insurance still doesn't cover everything. And folks, I'm telling you this from experience, you know, over here on my left, I have a power wheelchair, and, you know, these pieces, they're not cheap. These parts are not cheap. When the tires that wear out, when the motor blows, that costs. And insurance companies, everybody feels, oh, you have a disability, your insurance will cover everything. Wrong. Because insurance will not always cover everything. I've seen insurance companies not cover everything. Let me tell you something. These wheelchair companies, all these companies that make your eyeglasses, your orthotics, if you wear braces, they'll sell you halfway. You know, they'll say, okay, we'll change your tires, but we're not going to change the motor.
I mean, folks, I've had orthotics my entire life, and I stopped wearing them at like the age of 22.
You stopped being RoboCop?
I wish I still had them, to be honest, because I think my legs would be a lot better. But when I used to get orthotics, folks, it would cost my mother, my parents, $1,000 out of your pocket. You know, and I've had ideas in my head to make the orthotics better so your feet can move in them and you can have mobility within the orthotic while wearing it. But I haven't had surgery or I haven't gotten in contact with a doctor for years to basically sell them my idea or give them my thoughts on how I think they can improve orthotics.
Well, I mean, you brought up a real good point. I mean, but going back to this this lady who almost got evicted because of her medical condition, and she has cerebral palsy.
Right.
I get there's equal rights, but there is laws against throwing somebody out with a disability and they have nowhere to go. I mean, the poor girl, she has a medical condition.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't wake up last night and said, hey,
Yeah, she was born with it.
She got sick, but not just that, but she got sick and unfortunate. But it's not like she was getting high and getting stoned and getting drunk and didn't want to pay her bills. She couldn't because of her medical condition, and it almost ended up losing her home. And like the report said, there is good news. They did working with her, but it's still under some investigation, which I think that's kind of whacked.
Yeah.
It's still under what investigation? You see that she's in a wheelchair. Hey, look, folks, we don't wake up today and decide, I think it'd be a great idea to play cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy.
That's like playing sick or having a cast on your leg, walking around saying, "Oh, I'm hurt."
Listen, we don't, like I said, but we don't wake up saying I'm gonna play cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, visually impaired, spinal bifida, paraplegic or quadriplegic or any other disability. These things happen. We have accidents. We were born this way. And a lot of us, and I know a lot of us here in Connecticut, were more born this way than anything else. But we do carry a sense of pride, and we do carry that dream of not being a millionaire, but we carry that dream of wanting to be independent. But to be independent, we have to have 100% accessibility. Anywhere that you would go, I would go. I don't care if it's the club. I don't care if it's the doctors, and I don't care if it's a public restaurant. Yeah, I don't know about yourself, but I want to do everything else that a regular person do. If a person's at the club and they're dancing, well, I want to go and I want to spin around in the club. I do not want to be sitting on the outside of the club talking about, that music sounds hot, man. Yeah. No, I want to be right there spinning around having a good time. If a person's at the bar, I don't want to be sitting outside the bar so I can bring the drink to you. No, I want to go to the bar.
Order the drink.
Another thing. And that's the thing. When you're in the bar, I don't want to be. You know how the stools are up there.
Oh yeah.
No. I want a table. I want to sit with my friends. I don't want to be like this, having a drink. No, I want to be at level like I am talking to you.
Right.
Like we are talking to the people at home.
Right.
And I want to have a conversation while I have my drink. What if I want to holler at a girl? I can't holler at the girl while she's sitting up there and I'm down here. I want to be face to face with her. The show is called Keeping It Real. Well, keeping it real is this.
Yeah.
That these places have got. What if I want? What if I don't even want a table? You speak of that. What if I want to sit at the bar? You go to diners and restaurants and they have the bar.
Yeah.
Like counter section. What happens if I'm in a wheelchair, but I want to sit in that section?
Hey Dave, you ever think about this in like 20 years where they could have motorized chairs just sitting at the bar?
Oh, well, we freaked them out when Five of Us drives in a restaurant and they act like
no, I'm talking like
disability.
You drive into a bar, right?
Yeah.
And the bar stool comes down to your level by a robot. So you could actually sit in it and then you maneuver it where you can sit where you want to be at the bar. Exactly. You could see that in 20 years. The way technology is going nowadays.
But for something as simple as making it modified for me to sit at a bar stool, don't take 20 years to do that. Okay? It don't take 20 years to make a spot that's accessible. There's places. Me and you went into a place, like I'm in a restaurant. We went out to eat, and there was no accessibility table.
Yeah.
Literally, there was no spot for me to park my wheelchair. And luckily, folks, I'm able to get out my chair, and I'm very lucky that I'm able to transfer myself in and out of my chair. But I know a lot of us cannot do that. And therefore, when we go into a public place, I don't want to be sitting sideways where I'm in the aisle. I want to be at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then remember, the girl had the nerve to say, I don't think they invented those kind of things yet. What?
Yeah. I mean, folks.
I
mean,
does that make any sense? I mean, even Francisco would say it don't make any sense.
I mean, folks, you gotta. We were in the restaurant. We were in the at the public place, and you had David's chair and another, if you remember,
you're right,
manual wheelchair.
There was a girl
that had a little
wheelchair.
It was a little girl in a manual wheelchair, and she could roll right up. But David, not unfortunately, but had the ability to move out of his chair. But she literally said...
But she couldn't even really roll up to the table, and I said it right in front of her mom or whoever, her sister or whatever. There should be handicap accessible table.
But she literally said, I don't think they invented those yet.
That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, because that's the kind of stuff that makes you feel embarrassed, makes us feel embarrassed about our disability.
Yeah.
It's bad customer service, and on top of all that, that's why we don't want to come out, because that's how we feel like we don't fit in. You know, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
I've been to a state building, and it's not even got a handicap button to open the door. Now,
are you lying?
I wish I was. Now explain that.
Are you supposed to get up the stairs? Wait.
No, you can't get in the. I'm told the door to get in the building. You should have the handicap button right there.
There was no handicap button.
Right.
What? Crazy, folks.
Exactly. That don't make any sense. You a state building. This is where you want me to come because Social Security and food stamps. But yeah, you ain't even got a button that I can get in. Luckily, somebody was there to help me open the door. But if I didn't have that, you know what? I would have been like, you know what? I'm keeping my Social Security and I can't get in your building. Now, they probably would have cut me anyway for that. But talking about you didn't come. I was right outside your door. But this is what I'm always arguing about. There's places that's supposed to be up to code, supposed to be handicap accessible, that it really not. And it makes me mad. It makes me, especially, when it gets cold and you talking about getting around. I mean, they don't even shovel the sidewalks, or at least good enough where you could, in a wheelchair, be able to get on the sidewalk, the little curb cut. They don't shovel the curb cut. I get that the city got to plow. I get that. But they always cry about, oh, you guys are going to get hit. You guys are going to get hurt. Hello, city. If you plow the streets and you don't give us a way to get on the sidewalk, hello, geniuses. We ain't got no other choice.
Yeah, true.
You don't make it accessible for me to use a sidewalk. Okay?
I mean, to go back to the lady that got evicted or was going to get evicted.
Exactly.
She was renovating her house in order to make it more accessible for her.
And I don't see anything wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. But they were trying to evict her because she tried to renovate herself to make her house, renovate the house to make.
And I wish I could smack the person who tried to do that, because quite frankly,
to make it better.
I wish I could smack the person, because let me tell you something. Like I just said, we don't all want to live in an apartment forever. We want options. Those who want to live in an apartment forever, that's fine. That's cool. It's all fine and dandy. Some of us want housing. Okay, it's 2014. The year of the disabled only in a nursing home is dead. Okay? I'm not saying nothing wrong with nursing homes and those who have to be there. They deserve all the right proper care that those homes could possibly give them. But for those disabled people and elderly that want to be part of the community and live out their days just as independent as anybody else who walk, I don't see why it's a problem to just, all we're asking for is accommodation so I can live my everyday life. So I can go to the bathroom, so I can take a shower, so I can get in my refrigerator, so I can go to bed. Not hard, folks, requests or accommodation.
Even the accommodations going back to work, if we can get somewhat of a little bit of accommodation.
Oh yeah, exactly, and even with work. Just because I can't do this, don't mean I can't do that. And I can be just as effective at the job as the other person who's walking in a different way, but still just as effective as somebody who does not have a disability. And, I'm tired of the word handicap. We are not handicapped people. We are people with disability. And people need to get that correct. There is a difference.
I mean,
we're not beggars. We're not hand with a cap and say, give me money.
Gonna say that.
We are people with disability. We're not retards that you like to call us because we ain't dumb. We got common sense, because even a person who cannot talk that uses a Dynabox, which is a machine, folks who don't know, that helps a person who cannot be verbal to be more verbal. It helps them talk. So they still think, even though they cannot speak, therefore they are not retarded. Okay? They just have a hard time speaking, and that machine helps them to have a voice. I have a couple of friends that use Dynabox, like Jackie, Tiffany, and Lewis, and Jamie, who all, I know all of them, and trust me, they talk about everything on their Dynabox. I won't get into what they talk about in the Dynabox, but they talk about all that kind of stuff on their Dynabox. So this whole, you're handicapped, no, okay? And let me tell you something, even those who are blind, they can't see, but they feel, okay? They cannot see, but they ain't stupid, because I dated a girl who could not see. And let me tell you something, she was the best girlfriend, the best girlfriend I ever had. I miss her every day, but she went on to start her own career and went off to college. She was graduating next year. And for that, Zuleika, I, congratulate you on doing a great job succeeding through school. But for example, case in point, I've met a lot of people who are blind and visually impaired, who are smart as you and know what. They can't see, but they can go through a computer like you wouldn't believe. Mm-hmm. They know technology a lot better than a lot of people who can see the computer. Yeah. So this whole, these guys are handicapped and they can't do this and that, that's done with. And, and everybody else don't like to say it, but I'm going to say it, okay? We have kids too. We can make kids just like everybody else. Yeah, we date true. Just like everybody else. We feel pain like everybody else. And I ain't gonna be real. We drink, we get arrested, we get in trouble just like everybody else, and we work out in the community and live in the community, or should be able to live out in the community just like everyone else.
And folks, I've talked to a good friend of mine, and he's got cerebral palsy with a kid, and I've always asked him, like, what's it like? What does it feel like? He's like, just don't worry about having a disability. Just be there for your kid.
That's all you got to do. I got one of my friends, may he rest in peace. He had kids. He was in a wheelchair. My other friend, he has a son, and he's married in a wheelchair, and he lives on his own out in the community. And Alvin, I'm proud of you, buddy. You just keep doing what you're doing. They told him he wasn't gonna live past 25, and he's like 30, I think, 30-something years old. So, we're here. Mm-hmm. And as long as I'm here, I'm going to continue as much as I can to voice the voiceless of the people who cannot speak for themselves. Well, I can speak. And all those people who are disabled that are scared to speak, I'm going to speak out, because people need to come to realize that we are not going to take the sitting down. You're not going to discriminate against us. And you're going to let us have just as equal with everything as everybody else. I don't want halfway. I want it all the way. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be like, oh, well, we got this and that. No, I want everywhere I go, I better be getting into. Don't let me go to no mall and don't find out the handicap button don't work. We got a problem. We're going to have a lot of problems. Don't you go and find out the handicap stall, ain't my wheelchair can't fit in it. If I can't do a donut in the store, we got problems. Okay? We got problems.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Fred, but seriously.
Yeah. I've used the handicap stall before, so I understand what you're saying.
You talk, because
folks, we need to be treated the same way. We can't be treated half anymore. It's kind of getting tired. Me and David here are both getting tired of it. I think we're all getting tired of getting treated differently because we have the disability, because people just look at us different because we're born with something we have no control over, folks. We're born with something we have no control over, and we can't help that.
You know, I'm about to make a shirt that says "Born with what."
That'd be a good shirt.
Born with what? Born with what?
I'd be wearing that shirt.
No, cause check it out, right? Because we're sitting here on TV, and let me tell you something. I don't see two handicapped people. I see two regular guys having a conversation about things that are going on in life.
Yeah.
I don't see two, handicapped, mentally challenged, because I see two regular kids having a conversation about life. Okay? And I have a lot of great friends that have disabilities of all kinds. Let me tell you something, and I'll tell the viewers at home. I'm all for my disability. One of my tattoos, ladies and gentlemen, is the disability logo on my arm. And if it was warmer, I'd show it to you, but I got a button-up shirt on. But, I'd date somebody with disability before I'd date somebody who walks. Because even though we may be different, we understand each other. Because unless you live this life, unless you walk a day in our shoes or sit a day in our seat,
very true,
you have no idea what this is like. Now, don't get me wrong. I highly recommend it to all those nurses who take care of us, to PCAs who take care of us, and family members who support us, but to all those people who look down on us or don't believe in us. Okay, it's time for you to believe, because I don't know what you're seeing, and for all the people who don't like to be seen with us, or I can't date y'all because you have a disability, you need to get over yourselves. Now those are the handicapped people, because you know why I say that? Because handicap is all in the state of mind.
Yeah.
A person who walks is handicapped if they feel that they cannot do something that they've never tried.
Like my friend says, your visibility is all about your state of mind, where you see yourself, how you see yourself,
exactly.
how you come across.
Exactly, how you carry yourself. And that's what I'm pointing out to the viewers at home, disabled and non-disabled, that, if you are disabled and you do have a disability, you don't have to make yourself act like or put yourself down because of that disability. And if you don't have a disability, you don't need to discriminate or look down on those who do, because then you might as well be them. And not to mention, being them, it can happen to you any day. You can go from walking today, get hit by a bus tomorrow, and now you're one of us.
Can I say one last thing, buddy?
You can say one last thing. We're coming close to the end, but go ahead.
I would ask anybody that doesn't have a disability, any girl that wants to date a person with a disability, or guy or girl, doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter, whatever your preference is, to actually take that shot, because unless you take that jump and you try, you're not going to know until you actually do it. So my challenge to you folks is, anybody who doesn't have a disability, guy or girl, go out and try to find a way to connect with people with disability, because it makes us feel good. So why not try to be in a relationship? Because then you can have that viewpoint and say, okay, my boyfriend or my girlfriend has a disability, and this is how we coexist with each other. Because then it just shows that we all can get along, a cliche type of thing. But
very well said. We're getting ready to wrap up the show here today. I know, Fred, you weren't big on this, but I want to give a special shout out to Fred's aunt, who his family, your family, and they passed away. My condolences. And tell your dad I said I'm sorry for your loss. Ladies and gentlemen, closing out the show, treat people how you want to be treated is all I can say. I'm David King.
And I'm your host, Fred Cilbrith.
Thank you for watching. Good night.